Greetings, fam, and welcome to another episode of Wine and Wisdom. I am Dr. Carlia East. I am here to give you the wisdom. You have the wine. Get prepared to sip, savor, and elevate our minds. I am super excited today to bring to you our Q&A edition yet again. And let's jump right into our questions. So the first question is, let me go. Let me find it. Okay, here we go. How do I balance being a strong, independent woman with wanting love and support from a partner? Okay, so we've got strong, independent woman with wanting love from a partner. So I think the first thing we have to accept is the fact that we have to own both truths. This is the deal. You can be both. I am very strong, and I remember, constantly being told that I was aggressive. And usually when those types of terms, and I've talked about this before, people place those terminologies on us, it's because they want to control the narrative, or they want to dumb us down, or we're just too fierce and too fabulous and they can't deal with it, and it makes them question themselves. Okay, either way, you are allowed to be both. People are dual individuals. We have dualities, which means we have soft sides and we have harsh sides, and there's a time and a place for every single one of them. So number one, own that shit. Own the softness that you have, but also own that grit, because that grit that got you to where you are. And you should not have to turn off one in order for you to be accepted, because everyone comes with their dualities. All right. Number two, I think you got to look at your selection process. Like, how are you selecting your mates? Because if you keep finding yourself with someone that's constantly trying to change you or numb you or belittle you or gaslight you, then your selection process is not on point, right? And so we have to, first of all, do some groundwork behind the scenes to build that up. But really what you want to look at is you want a partner that is going to celebrate you, not be intimidated by you, and also someone that's not going to compete. Okay, because that is one of the things that I can tell you from personal experience that is a killer of any relationship. If you're not with someone that feels self-confident and secure in themselves, then your strength and your softness is also going to be an intimidation for them. And you cannot not be who you were made to be in order for them to feel better as a human being. That is their problem and that is their work. So make sure that in the process of being with someone, that you are with someone that is a partner to you, okay? Where they take part in participating in this thing called a relationship, and that they're not there to measure themselves, or they're not there for the come up, because that can be shitty too. All right. The last thing you also want to do is keep your identity intact, because you have strong and soft areas. Manicure those, right? Make sure your strong and soft areas are nurtured. Make sure you're spending time developing those, right? I think one of my soft parts about me is I love to bake. And so I'm always trying new recipes and baking, but I also love to box. So I be liking to punch and hit shit too, right? That could be a lot for somebody. But the right person for you is going to understand your dualities and love and embrace all of them. That's the key. You do not have to prove yourself to anyone. You don't have to act like you're so strong to where you want to be by yourself. You don't have to act like you're so vulnerable to where you're needy. But there is a balance between the two. I'm going to sit up here and let y'all know straight up. Do I want to eventually be in a healthy relationship? Yes. Do I want to spend the rest of my years with someone that is compatible and compassionate with me? Yes. Do I need to? No, I don't need to. Okay. What they say, all I need to do is stay black and die. Like, for real. That's all I need to do. Right. But what I want is for a companionship. And I want that person to not come as a competitor. Okay. We're here to share and grow together. So can you do both? Yes, but make sure that you are standing firm on who you are and how you roll, and that in your selection process, you are making sure that these individuals can handle and navigate this well, and that they're not in competition. Because as soon as you see the competition in the race, okay, that you did not volunteer to be a part of, all right? Let's get to our second question. What does healthy self-care really look like when you're busy, tired, and burnt out? Y'all better stop talking to me in my own language, okay? Listen, I totally understand what it's like to be burnt out. I totally understand what it's like to be tired. But I think oftentimes we do have kind of a fantasy type of ideology of what, self-care looks like. Now, if your coins are long and your papers are stacked, and you can go and get massages every week, and you can go and get facials, you can go for spa treatments, or you can go for staycations or vacations or travel around the world, honey, do you, boo. But for the rest of us that's balling on the budget, for the rest of us where our checking and savings accounts don't always agree with each other, we have to figure out small ways, affordable $1.25 tree ways in order for us to self-care. So number one, you have to know that saying no is not a guilt trip, right? Like healthy self-care means saying no to people, because remember, when you say no to others, you're saying yes to yourself. And no is a complete statement, right? You don't have to give me a whole thesis behind it and validate why you're saying no. But the bottom line is, if you are being overwhelmed partially and burnt out, partially is because you're taking on extra shit that's not yours to take on. So look at what you do for a living, right? Look at your career. Look at, if you have kids, take a look at that. If you have a mate, take a look at that. Those are like your priorities, right? If you have family members, things, if you're a caregiver, understand that. Those are your priorities. Those are your main ingredients for your stew, okay? But it's other shit that you got going on. The hu's and the hims and the thems and the days, even the clubs, the partnerships, the other activities that you're involved in, baby, if they are not fueling you, if they are not restoring you, I get that it is a wonderful thing to be of service. But another way to serve is self-serving, which means you have to take a minute for yourself, okay? And so look at the things that you're constantly being involved in. That's why your ass is tired, because you're running around trying to distract yourself with action instead of being still and recognizing that you need to rest. And not need to rest because you're lazy. You need to rest because you've earned it, which takes me to number 2. Resting when needed means it's earned. You do not have to be exhausted. You do not have to be to the point of just breaking down and falling out to where that's when you're allowed to sleep. You're allowed to take a nap any damn time you want to, right? As long as time is willing. So stop feeling like you have to stay up and you have to finish and you have to get these things done. I don't want the only time that you rest to be from exhaustion, to be because you can't even stay up and keep your eyes open because you just, used all your energy, mental, physical, spiritual, and whatever else. You have to know that just being still allows you to restore. Rest leads to restoration, okay? Which allows you to be better in your next round. And so in order for you to do that, you got to take a pause, you got to take a break. And even if you're not necessarily going to sleep, you still need to just be still, sat down, be still, listen to some smooth jazz, get your mind into a place of calmness, because that can even restore you, even if you can't necessarily go to sleep or take a nap, okay? And then thirdly, I really want you guys to focus on feeding yourself something. Meaning, some ways that I take care of my self-care is that I will go to McDonald's by myself. Yes, I said it. Don't tell Savant. Okay, don't tell my son. I go to McDonald's by myself, get a fry, and just ride around and eat it by myself. Now, I know that might seem funny to some of y'all, but for the rest of y'all totally understand what I'm saying. It's nice to be able to eat all your snacks without somebody else asking for some. It's nice to be able to have your plate of food without somebody fork reaching over to and just assuming that yours is theirs and theirs is yours. Okay? I'm just saying. Self-care does include some selfishness, and that also includes feeding you. Okay? Giving you snacks, giving you things that you love, that you enjoy. That's important. Now, it can be a snack plate, it can be fruit, it can be this, it can be that. But what I'm saying is, oftentimes we get so wrapped up into our schedules, we get so bogged down by the things that we're doing that we forget to eat. We forget to sustain ourselves. We're so busy making sure that our kids and our mates and our this and our that have everything on their plates that we will take off our plates to give to them. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. You cannot continue to do that. Either we're going to divide this stuff up equally, okay? Or ain't nobody going to have none. But you can continue to be the sacrificial lamb for your friends, for your family, for anybody else, okay? So in order for us to start self-caring, when we're exhausted and when we're burnt out, is start looking at the places that exhaust us and burn us out. Maybe we are putting way too much energy, time, and effort into individuals, places, or things that are not reciprocating that same energy. And if that's the case, then it is our responsibility to take a step back and align these things so that they make sense, okay? So keep sending in your questions. Please like, share, put some comments below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Send me some more questions. You guys have them. Again, thank you for listening to the podcast. Be healthy, be safe. I'll see you guys in a few weeks. Bye.